Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. Today we're going to be talking about virtue and ignorance. Many people falsely believe the goal of life is to get as much pleasure and egotistical attainments as possible. However, that is not the goal of life. The optimal goal of life is to maximize your essence. If you don't know what I mean when I say essence, go watch my video on your essence and you'll start to understand what I mean. What is virtue? Virtue is being in harmony with the essence of life, which basically means not being self-centered and not seeking pleasure. There's only two problems in life at the core. If you follow any problem you have back, it will lead to one of these two things, which is ego and pleasure. Always, or some combination of the two. When you are virtuous, your essence grows regardless if you know it or not. You don't have to feel it to understand that you're going to reap the benefits or your essence is growing from your virtuous behavior. Therefore, virtue is its own reward. What is ignorance? Ignorance is being out of harmony with the essence of life, which basically means being self-centered and or pleasure-seeking. We've all seen pleasure-seeking people who we know that they lack complete virtue, and we know the consequences of their actions. And we've also seen self-centered people, and we call both of those people ignorant. It's no secret. And go back to the virtuous person, we've also seen people who weren't self-centered, who didn't seek pleasure, and we knew they were virtuous. We just knew. When you are ignorant, your essence decreases regardless if you know it or not. You don't have to actually feel it or see it to know that it's happening. When you indulge in chocolate cake, you know there's going to be negative consequences for it. When you're self-centered, you know there's going to be negative consequences for it. You don't have to feel it and see it or experience it in that moment to know it's going to happen. Therefore, ignorance is its own punishment. Virtue is only painful in the short run like sore muscles. Why? Because it requires you to give something up in the short run that long term won't be beneficial. You may see somebody hurting and they may come to you for advice and you may think, hey, I could use this person. However, if you do, you know there's going to be negative consequences for that. However, if you help that person, there will be positive consequences for you doing that. So, at every junction in life, you have two options. You can be virtuous or you can be ignorant. It's really up to you. You should always choose the virtuous one. I'm not telling you to be virtuous. No. You'll suffer. You'll suffer enough, you'll eventually start seeing what I'm saying. Okay. Virtuous people see more of the consequences of their actions than ignorant people do. That's really all it is. But the difference between a virtuous person and an ignorant person is a virtuous person sees the more fully the consequences of the actions. You go this way, they see more. They go this way, they see more. That's basically the difference. And I've heard people say this, oh, ignorance is bliss, but that's not really true. Ignorance is only bliss in the short run, like illicit drugs. I'm sure taking illicit drugs is very blissful in the short run, but we all the people who are wise and virtuous know that if you get involved in illicit drugs, what's going to happen? It's all going to be miserable eventually. So basically, it's a failure. Ignorance is a failure to see the long-term consequences of your actions. Okay. Most of us heard these sayings, which basically points out virtue and ignorance. You reap what you sow, and that can be a positive thing or a negative thing. If you're treating people with virtue or virtuously, or then obviously you're planting good things, and you're going to reap good things from that. However, if you're treating people, with disrespect and whatnot and so forth, then you're going to reap the negative consequences of those actions. So it's no mystery. And we've also heard this, when you made your bed, now go lie in it. It's the same thing. If you make a nice, comfortable bed, hey, it's fine. If you haven't prepared that bed, then, you got to go lay in it either way. So basically, virtue all boils down to actions. Your actions determine your virtue. Your actions are always planting something. Do you want to harvest wheat or do you want to harvest weeds? If you wouldn't mind, folks, please rate, and you can also go up to the upper right-hand corner and you can check this article out which I wrote. Later, folks.